Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at speech marks and punctuating dialogue. Dialogue is just a fancy word for speech. So whenever you're doing some writing and you need to write down what somebody actually says, you are going to need to use speech marks. And I find time and time again that people make mistakes with this. So I hope, going to show you how to do this because it is in fact fairly straightforward if you remember the steps. So let's start off with a fairly straightforward sentence and we will punctuate it. So here we go. My teacher is an idiot, said Alfie. Now, I started off with a capital letter at the front of the sentence and I'm going to finish with a full stop. The first thing is which part of this is actually being said. Well, clearly Alfie is saying, my teacher is an idiot. And any part of speech that's actually being spoken needs to be in speech marks. They're also called inverted commas because they look like a comma that's upside down, and that's what inverted means. To invert something means to put it upside down. So my teacher is an idiot, said Alfie. So it's after idiot is where the talking actually ends. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to put what is actually being said in the speech marks. My teacher is an idiot. That's what Alfie said. My teacher is an idiot, said Alfie. But we have got to do something else really important, and I think this is one of the key things. You need to make sure that you put some kind of punctuation at the end of what is being said inside the speech mark before the said Alfie, screamed Alfie, cried Alfie. I'm just going to use a comma. Now, I've not left much space here, but in fact it's important that this piece of punctuation is inside the speech mark. You could also use an exclamation mark or any piece of punctuation, and it's really important that you do that. So let's just check that we have got the three basic things of dialogue are: make sure that the beginning part of any speech or anything being spoken has got a capital letter. Make sure also that what is being spoken is inside speech marks or inverted commas. And finally, make sure that you have a piece of punctuation separating what is being said from the said Alfie, agreed his mum, or whatever else it is you're going to write. Let me do another example here. Sit down, shouted the teacher. So I'll put my full stop at the end because that's the end of my sentence. I've got my capital letter at the beginning, so that's okay. What did the teacher shout? The teacher shouted, sit down. So make sure the speech marks are around that. And then I need a piece of punctuation. And I'm going to put an exclamation mark in here. Now, if you've got the person who's doing the speaking at the front of the sentence, it's exactly the same thing. You just need to make sure you separate the bits with a piece of punctuation like this. So my teacher said, now before I actually write down what my teacher said, I again need to have that piece of punctuation, always separating what's being spoken to who is actually doing the speaking. So my teacher said, comma, then I'm going to need my speech marks or inverted commas. Make sure that I use a capital letter. I've always got a capital letter at the beginning of any speech inside speech marks. My teacher said, let's all go home. And then make sure that is inside the speech marks. Now, have I forgotten anything? Yes, I have, because I don't have a piece of punctuation inside the speech marks to finish this "let's all go home." So I'm going to, again, let's use an exclamation mark. And that is really the basics to setting out dialogue. So let me just make a note of that. So number one, okay, speech. Oh, am I spelling speech correctly? No, it's double E, isn't it? There we go. Speech, dialogue must be inside speech marks. Number two is a capital letter. At the beginning. There we go. At the beginning of speech. Spell speech right there correctly, that's better. And separate speech from the said bit. I know that's not very technical, but I hope you know what I mean, the said or shouted. Separate speech from the said bit with punctuation inside the speech marks. And that is here. So I've got that comma here inside the speech mark. I've got that exclamation mark here inside the speech mark. And I've got that comma here. There is also a fourth thing that I'm going to write down, but I'm not going to cover that here. I'm going to do a separate video on that. And that is when you have several people speaking, you must start a new line with each speaker. So new speaker equals a new line. But I'm going to cover that on another video. So there you go, speech marks, punctuating dialogue, not particularly tricky, but easy to miss bits out. Get down, write something amusing, interesting, funny, illuminating, and punctuate it properly. Brilliant. All the best. Bye.